Hey everyone. So I've been thinking a bit about my past and my story, if you will. In my very first video, I talked somewhat about my health problems, and I didn't really go into it a whole lot because I just kind of, I don't know, I didn't want to go into that whole spiel, and I didn't know some people might not, want to hear it, but I don't know, I got to thinking, and figured some people might want to know a bit more and kind of dig deeper into that whole thing. So, this is for anyone who is interested more in my past and my problems and that type of thing. Just kind of getting it out of the way and trying to put everything here. Just getting it all out in the open, I guess, would be the best way to say. And I'm not really sure where to even start. I suppose there's two places I could start. I was actually found the brain tumor when I was 15 years old. But according to the doctors, they had assumed I had the brain tumor from birth. I didn't really experience any symptoms until when I was in about third grade. I would get headaches a lot, and they couldn't be cured by anything. I could take pain pills, they just wouldn't help. I had eye pain and stuff. And I saw a doctor when I was in elementary school, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, somewhere in there. And, every time I went to see him, it was like, he would just be like, oh, it's probably from stress or whatever. Just never really gave any, put any effort into figuring it out. It was just, oh, you have headaches, whatever, dude. No, it just didn't work out very well. So I imagine I probably had a tumor back then, and the doctor was just not a very good doctor. And, so I just was like, okay, I guess I have headaches all the time, whatever. So that continued. It's kind of hard to even imagine it now, but I just had headaches all the time, and it's like, okay, I guess I just have headaches all the time. Oh, well, I tried going to a doctor, and then, there were other points, I couldn't tell you what years were. Tried again. Oh, same doctors love to just hand out stupid fucking diagnoses and not put any effort into it. If you're a doctor and you're watching this and you take offense, I'm sorry, but some of y'all motherfuckers don't do shit. And you fucking suck. After what I've been through, I feel I have the right to say that. So if that's you, get fucked. I don't give a shit. That's how I feel. But anyway, then cut to, I guess the other spot where I could begin the story. I was 15, and I started going blind in my right eye. And at first, it was like, when you start going blind in one of your eyes, you don't think, oh God, I'm going blind in my eye. Because it's just not something that happens. Generally speaking, you don't, oh, what happened to you this week? Oh, I started going blind in one of my eyes, So at first, I just thought, I don't know, it's temporary, something with my eye, I don't know, an eye injury, whatever. So I just kind of ignored it and hoped it would pass for a week or two. And it wasn't going away, so I was like, okay, apparently something's fucking wrong here. I need to look into this. And I went to see, let me think. Yeah, okay. I went to see an eye doctor. It was actually a specialist for low vision, and they looked into my eye, and they told me they couldn't tell me what the problem was. they said it could be this, it could be that, blah blah, whatever. And so I had to go get an MRI done. And when I got the MRI done, that's how they found out it was a tumor. Well, basically, where it was located, it was attached to my optic nerve and my it was attached to my hypothalamus, which is close to the pituitary gland. I'll come back and describe some more, but just fast forward a little bit because of where it was located. When it was removed, I lost vision in my right eye completely, and I lost close to half of my vision in my left eye. So I'm blind in my right eye, and all the peripheral over here, some up top and some in the bottom. If you look at my chart of where my blind spots are, it looks like a moon, like a crescent moon. So it's like, off to the side, and some up here and some down here. And my vision is like just straightforward. Anyway, and also it was connected to my hypothalamus, and that had to be cut, which led to pituitary problems. And another complication, I lost my sense of smell. So I just wanted to get that out of the way real quick, but let's bounce back to where I was at in the story. So with the MRI, we found out that I had it, and I had to schedule to get it removed. And I went to Riley Hospital in Indianapolis. And I got it removed, and then had all those complications. And actually, I probably should backtrack slightly. Because it was attached to my hypothalamus and I had pituitary problems, apparently even before the vision problem that was the wake-up call, I did have some other effects. I was very small all throughout school, and I was a late bloomer as far as puberty was concerned. At least that was the thought, but it was actually directly related to the tumor because of the pituitary problems. But to give you an idea, I went into Riley when I was a sophomore. When I was a freshman, sophomore, somewhere in that area, I was like 4 foot something, and I weighed 80 pounds. Like, I was tiny as fuck. And I had not hit puberty, which, freshman in high school, that's not terribly normal. Okay, sorry, I'm having a hard time like bouncing back and forth here, but anyway, I just wanted to preface that so and with that, there was a lot of bullying and that type of shit. I didn't really date, clearly, because, you don't really try to date in high school when you don't have hair on your balls. But, anyway, jump back to getting out at Riley. There were some complications. I honestly have a hard time even telling you what went down at Riley because I was like drugged up and shit like the whole time I was there. It's a blur. But I was there for a month and a half in bed the whole time. Most of the time. Pretty much the whole time. And they had to cut half of my head. Like, they went from my ear to about, somewhere in the middle to actually do the surgery. Well, apparently there was a problem with an aneurysm during my surgery, and they stitched that up, but they apparently didn't properly close it. So shortly after the surgery, I had an aneurysm, and they couldn't cut where they had just cut, so they cut the other side. So now I got to cut all the way across, and they had to do an aneurysm clip. And also, while I was in, I had 3 seizures. I almost OD'd on morphine the first time they gave it to me. Actually, when they had first started giving me morphine, when you get morphine, you're supposed to have it done what's called IV piggyback, which is basically a drip through your IV, so you get it slowly throughout like 45 minutes or an hour or so. Well, the first nurse I had, she had just given me the whole dose all at once a few times, and like at first I almost overdosed and I would stop breathing. And I actually had my dad with me there, and he had to keep making me breathe. And I don't know, if you've never had morphine, it's supposedly similar to heroin, and it basically just sends you into slumber mode. It makes you tired, and it makes you really comfortable, warm and fuzzy. So I was passing out and not breathing, so I had to have someone just keep, hey, breathe, because I just wouldn't. It's weird to think about, since you breathe automatically, but I wasn't breathing automatically. I had to consciously breathe, and I felt like I was gasping for air when I did breathe. But anyway, since she had given me the IV that way multiple times, when they did it the correct way with the piggyback, it just would not work, because I was used to it and it wouldn't relieve my pain. So then they had to keep giving it to me that way, which is not really good for you. I mean, all said and done, when I finally got out of there after all that morphine, oh my god. Life without morphine was a fucking bummer, man. Seriously, I don't know if I should say I got addicted to it or I didn't. I don't know. I wasn't trying to get heroin. But, it was some good shit. And definitely for a few months it was man, I fucking miss that shit. If you want a good night's sleep, fucking morphine will do it for you, buddy. Let me tell you. That shit was fucking awesome. I hate to say that. I don't want anyone to watch this and think, oh man, maybe I should try heroin. Don't fucking try heroin. But seriously, I enjoyed it. But, like I said, that's not good for you, for them to give it to you like that. And that's probably why, because you're more likely to get addicted to it, I would imagine. But, anyway, while I was in there, I gained 80 pounds. So when I got out, it was at 160, and I doubled my weight. And I had been in bed for a month and a half. So all that extra weight and being in bed for that long, it was a bitch to get back into just moving around and walking around, And I was tired all the time and just exhausted all the time. And I was fucking depressed as shit too, because it was just a lot, man. The vision problems, and to this day I don't even know why, but I have problems with endurance and stamina. I just can't do things for long periods of time. I have a lot of muscle pain and joint pain with that. And my doctors from Riley, they don't even know why. It goes back to, you have a hard time getting doctors getting bottom of shit, but it's another side effect. But anyway, they put me on growth hormone and testosterone to basically get me to grow and basically start puberty. I don't know how much of hormones I was getting. I got some, but it was a reduced amount because of the tumor. There's another hormone, cortisol, a stress hormone that I have to take. I actually take that 3 times a day, and if I miss a full day of doses, I can either die or go into a coma. So I need that to live. And the doctors were telling me, because I was getting a reduced amount of cortisol, if I would have delayed long enough, I would have eventually died just because I wasn't getting enough cortisol. And that's actually another thing I wanted to go back to. Because I was getting a reduced amount of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, I was fucking stressed all the time. When I was in school, I tried my best to get good grades, and a lot of times, like, bullies and shit, I mean, when you're that fucking little in middle school and high school, you get bullied. Like, of course. That type of shit, and then, like, with school, I just couldn't handle stress very well. And I mean, it just wasn't a good scene, man. Like, it was bad. I don't really want to go into that shit too much. I don't really want to talk about myself negatively, but, like, I guess, the best way to put it was, like, I was a pussy because I just couldn't handle stress, man. Like, if I didn't get good grades, I'd fucking cry about it. If, like, small things happened, I'd cry about it. I mean, like, I wasn't a normal kid at all. Like, and the older I got, the worse it was. I mean, when I was younger, maybe I was a little shorter, but, the older I got, when I was in high school, and like I said, I was 4 foot something, weighed 80 pounds, prepubescent. I mean, I was way different than the other kids at that point. But, when I got out, just trying to adjust to going back to school, and being so sore and tired all the time, I went into a deep depression. I had to leave school a lot because I couldn't make it through the whole day because I just would get tired. So they had to switch it for me, so I had half days. I would do half my classes one day and the other half the next day. And I would just, like, get the extra homework in between. But I was so depressed and shit, like, I didn't do my homework. Like, I ended up having to fail, like, half my classes and try them again the next year. I managed to make it out of high school and graduate, but fuck, it was a nightmare. And I don't know, I mean, up until, like, the last couple of years, like, that whole fucking time I've been depressed as fuck and just not knowing what to do with my life. And, like I said, I have trouble with stamina. It's hard to get a job. I mean, you're supposed to be on your feet for 8 hours a day, and I couldn't do it, man. And then with the vision problem, I can't drive, so it's a fucking nightmare in itself, not being able to fucking drive, man. It's trapped all the fucking time, or you have to rely on other people to take you places. I mean, it was a bitch to get to and from work when I did have a job. And, the thing that goes along with that was difficult is with not hitting puberty until I was halfway through high school. And that's hitting puberty. That's not even being done with puberty. I wasn't done with puberty until I was fucking out of high school. I mean, I didn't even start dating until I got out of high school. Like, I didn't even think about dating anyone I went to school with while I was in school. I just wasn't on my radar. I didn't care about any of that shit. But, by then it's like, okay, you just started dating and you just hit puberty and you're fucking 19 or 20. Like, it's fucking weird, man. It's awkward. Like, by then I should have a decent amount of experience, but I don't fucking have any. And it was hard. And I don't know, man. Like, that's a whole other fucking story I don't even need to get into. But that was difficult to deal with too. And I've had my moments where I was severely depressed and suicidal. I mean, I've never really attempted suicide. I've always thought there's still some reason to be here. And it's never, I don't know, I'm just not the type of person, I guess. I've never thought that was like the answer, you know. Apparently suffering for 10 years and then finally getting your shit together was the answer for me. But, I used to think about it a lot, and it's been a long time since I've been like that, but it was definitely there for a while. And I would have, just bouts of depression where I would just fucking do nothing for weeks at a time. And people didn't understand me, and I didn't know how to relate to people, and people don't like someone like that, so I kind of got to a point where I just fucking hated everything and everybody, and I just didn't see the fucking point in anything. And I just fucking did that for too long, man. And after a while, it's just like, man, is this really what you're gonna do forever? You're just gonna fucking hate everything and just wish everything was different and think life's unfair. And you got fucked, which, I won't lie, man. Life's unfair. I got fucked. But no one gives a shit. Like, that doesn't help you any. So I just eventually got to the point where I just told myself, like, I can't fucking do this anymore. This can't be my life. I can't fucking live like this anymore. But even then, I still don't have a fucking job. I mean, I'm on disability, which, I think that was a vital part to me getting where I need to be. But I'm still working on it, I'm in school now, which is good, but it's still fucking hard, man. Even now, where I've gotten my shit together a lot better. I'm married, we got our own place, but even today, even with the progress I've made, it's still fucking hard, man. Like, I'm still sore a lot. I still fucking hurt myself a lot, and I have a hard time with shit, but, you gotta fucking push forward. You gotta do what you gotta do. It doesn't matter. But, my wife goes to work and I can't drive, so I'm fucking stuck here. This is where I'm at all the time. And, it's okay most of the time. I got a lot of stuff to occupy me, but still, this shit like that is difficult. And, even though I've adapted to how my life is, it doesn't matter how positive I am, I'm still blind in one eye and half blind in the other. That ain't gonna change, and that has a lot of its own problems. I have to do things slower. I don't have depth perception. I have to be a lot more careful, depending on what I'm doing, so I don't hurt myself. And it's just different. I just live differently. Like, even things as simple as walking around, I have to do what is called scanning with my eyes. I can't, if I'm standing up straight and I'm looking forward, I can't see the ground very well, so I generally walk looking down slightly. But because my field of vision is so restricted, see if I can get a little closer to the camera on this. Whenever I walk around, I have to scan, which I basically just look all four directions, up, down, left, right, just like repeatedly, and just like look all around while I'm walking. I have to do that the whole time I'm walking. You know, naturally doing that, if I just walk around for a couple hours, even if my legs aren't exhausted, my fucking eyes are exhausted. I mean, it's not normal shit. Most people don't do that. And you know, when I first was getting out, I ran into people all the fucking time, and I ran into shit all the fucking time, and I mean, I'm a pretty big dude, so like, I got some stories where I fucking annihilated people. Like, you can't have a fucking 250, 300 pound dude just walk into you and it be good. It's not good ever. But, you know, I've adapted to where, you know, I don't really have problems with that too much anymore. But, and then, you know, with like reading and stuff, it's not too bad, but I do have problems with like a headache. And, you know, because of that too, with, you know, I can't do anything fast paced. I can't walk around a lot. I mean, just those two things. I can't be on my feet all day. I can't walk around a lot. I can't do anything fast paced. Do you know how many jobs that knocks out? Like, fucking instantly, just that. A lot. I mean, you know, the thing with me getting a computer job is I have a hell of a time in the 3D world. But 2D, I can deal with, you know. It's just easier for me. And, like, looking at the computer screen, I see the whole screen. It's just anything, like, on the computer or, like, video games or watching TV, it's just more comfortable and easier for me. Like, I can't fucking relax if my eyes are going all over the place all the time. But anyway, I mean, I think I've covered all the bases. This video is my longest one yet. It's actually quite a bit longer than I expected it to be, but I just wanted to cover everything, so if anyone is curious, you know, there it is. That's just fucking all of it, man. I mean, if you got questions, feel free to hit me up, but I'm an open book, you know. Like, a big part of the new me is I'm not ashamed. I have no regrets. I've done a lot of shit in my life I fucking was not good. But, you know, it's even if it's fucked up, it's helped me get here and shape who I am. And I do what I do. I do the best I can. So I don't really, you know, feel if there's anything fucked up in my life, like I said, I'm an open book. Like, I can't fucking control that shit. And I might have responded incorrectly to a lot of things, but oh well, it's in the past. You learn and you move on. So, you know, if anyone has anything they want more information on, hit me up. But yeah, I think I got everything covered pretty well. If you've managed to watch this whole video, I'm impressed. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.